All right, so I just want to thank MSM and IDP for coming on this morning with me. This is wonderful, having over 100 attendees for this webinar. As you know, IDP is one of our UNBC's major partner in recruitment globally, not just in India. So we do appreciate your help in all this. I can take questions throughout the webinar. If you have questions that's pressing, please do type it in the chat box. Otherwise, I will have an interaction Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So it'll be easier for me to communicate with you guys about the answers. But for now, I will just kind of breeze through UNBC's webinar. If you have any questions, please do save it to the end, and then we can go from there. Okay. So this is the University of Northern British Columbia, UNBC. We are one of 96 universities and colleges in Canada. There's about 16 in British Columbia and only one in Northern BC. So from Vancouver to Prince George, where UNBC is located, it's about 1 hour flight. If you like to drive, it's about 8 to 10 hours, depending on how fast you drive. And this is Prince George. As you can see, UNBC is situated on top of the hill overlooking the city of Prince George, and we are surrounded by the Rocky Mountains. So you do get these type of views, breathtaking views almost every day. If you take a look at the picture, you see on the very right bottom side, the Northern Sports Center. And at the very bottom, on the right side as well, you will see the residence that's on campus. So it is a quick walk, not even 3-minute walk from the residence to the main campus. So let's talk about the temperature at Prince George. So the daytime high in the wintertime is about -8. Summer is about +25 in the daytime, but it cools down to a nice 16 degrees in the evening. So you don't need an AC. And if you just want to turn on a fan, it'll be perfect as well. Fall is a nice brisk +8 degrees, so it's not that bad. And in Prince George, we are a dry, cold climate. So the humidity level is really low. We're at about 40%. That means that in the wintertime, the temperature outside is not as cold as, say, in places like Vancouver or Toronto, where you have the moisture that's off the ocean or off the lake. And that makes it bone-chilling cold. So Prince George is a 4-season city. You can go ice fishing, you can go skiing, you can go hiking. These are all the amenities and natural resources that are available around us, and this is what makes us beautiful British Columbia. Within an hour away, you get to go to Mount Robson, where the water is that blue 365 days a year. The reason being is because it is glacial water, so the water is really pure. You can literally drink out of that if you want to without boiling it or even going through a filtration system. On the top right corner is our ancient forest, where you have the boardwalk that is maintained by our UNBC professor. It was a project by our the Department of Geography and Forestry Department in conjunction with the province of British Columbia. So the funding came from UNBC and the province to help maintain this boardwalk. And you can even go there in the wintertime to hike around, and it's a beautiful, breathtaking rainforest in British Columbia. So one thing unique about British Columbia for anybody who's interested in environmental studies is because British Columbia has multiple climate zones. We have a rainforest, we have glaciers, we have the deserts, and we have a really wet kind of city where it's Vancouver. Okay. So benefit about Prince George, you get 299 days of sunshine in Prince George. But don't know about you guys, but being able to see the sun in the morning helps me wake up and get me more energized. And for students who are from bigger cities such as Delhi or even Beijing, a lot of them hurt their eyes because they actually stare into the sun, and you don't do that here. You can probably do that there because there's a lot of cloud and smog and whatnot, but not in Prince George. So Prince George is a 20-minute city. What does that mean? Meaning that you can get anywhere in town within 20 minutes. From the airport, which is at the very bottom right corner, to the main campus, it's 20 minutes. And the students, international students, when they do arrive at Prince George International Airport, they can take a taxi, a cab, or a shuttle bus that will drop them off at the main campus if they're staying on residence, or anywhere if they're staying off campus as well. We also have a campus in the downtown core of Prince George called the Wood Innovation Design Center and the Wood Innovation Research Lab. And we'll talk about more about those two labs and what program is housed in those buildings. Okay. So on the very left is UNBC. As you can see, as far as your eye can see on the left picture there, at the cusp of the background with the tree ends, that's pretty much where UNBC University lands ends. So we have a lot of university land to grow, meaning that we can build more buildings. On top of that, this also gives our university's professors an advantage because they can take their students outside and learn from real life examples and how certain for example, the pine beetles affect pine trees in northern BC, and what effects that will have on them. It'll turn the trees and die. They'll kill the trees inside out by killing the inside core of the tree. Okay. UNBC Prince George is a cold city, so it does snow. But in northern BC, no matter what your passion is, it has it all. So if you want to do mountain biking, if you want to go hiking, it is a very beautiful place to enjoy nature out here. UNBC's main campus is in Prince George. That's where we house majority of the international students. But we do have four other campuses: Quesnel, we have Fort St. John, we have Terrace, we have Gitchewan, and we have Prince Rupert. So we do have all these additional campuses because we serve the same territory, geographical territory as the size of France. So that's the territory that UNBC is in charge of recruiting from for the province of British Columbia. So this is UNBC. This is my favorite time of year. This is fall, where colors are changing. As you can see in the bottom right corner right here, that's the Northern Sports Center. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in a second. And also there are the residents on campus, also with the bioenergy plant, which we'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards. Okay. So moving on, this is UNBC in the wintertime. It does snow, it is colder. However, the benefit of UNBC is that all the buildings are connected, meaning that once the students get into the building, they can put their coats and their boots away in their lockers, which is can be provided, and they can walk to classes without stepping outside ever again. So this is the advantage of UNBC versus, say, other colleges or universities in Ontario or even in Vancouver. If you go to UBC, you have to go to different buildings and requires you to walk outside in the rain or something in the snow. For us, all the buildings are connected. They don't have to go outside and face the elements. We are award-winning. We are one of the top 3 universities in Canada, according to Maclean's magazine, for undergraduate studies. And that slide is old. Now it is 12 years in a row now. We are one of the top 50 research universities in Canada. Times Higher Education placed UNBC in the top 5 worldwide. We're also one of the top 250 young universities worldwide. UNBC is right now only 28 years old. And we're only one of 3 universities from Canada, according to Times Higher Education. Okay. We're also very proud that we are the only university in British Columbia that is opened by Queen Elizabeth herself. So because of that, we try to hold up to the elite young university status that Queen Elizabeth bestowed upon us. And that's something that we strive to work towards. So we also have students over 50 different countries. With them at our campus, we also celebrate their international diversity with events such as Global U, where they can perform, they can do fashion shows, and we have food fairs where they introduce different types of food to the student body. And recently, we also added the Global Lounge for where students can hang out and mingle with their domestic friends. So we do have a lot of space for international students and just international students. So not all the universities in British Columbia are the same. So let me explain the difference. So UBC is a medical category university in British Columbia. Why? Because they're the only university in British Columbia that offer medical program. Medical meaning MD, that they are doctors. Research intensive universities are the universities that offers PhDs and masters. A lot of them are research based masters. So these universities are UBC, Simon Fraser, UVic, and UNBC. If you want to take a look at the law or the act that created the university, the research intensive university, all you have to do is look under the British Columbia University Act, and UNBC will be one of the proud university in that act or law. And then there's teaching university. So teaching university, they do have master's program, but they're mostly course-based. So they are Capilano, TRU, VIU, RRU, which is Road University. And then they're vocational type universities / colleges, meaning that they offer undergraduate degrees, but a majority of the programs are trade-based. So these are BCIT, Langara, Douglas College. Those are more vocational more vocational universities. So as a research university, our professors are being sponsored or have received grant from the government because they're specialists in what they do in their research area. So currently we have just over 14 research endowed chairs that is receiving fund from the federal government and also the provincial government as well. We have all this because this is part of our research mandate as a research intensive university. The benefit of UNBC is because we are one of the smallest university in British Columbia. We're also the smallest research intensive university in BC. With 3,800 students, 10% of them being international, we are able to have a 1:8 faculty student ratio. So that means that the students, if they do skip class or if they don't show up, the professors will know who they are and maybe talk to them after class. So you're able to develop this personal relationship with the professors and the teachers. So if you add somebody like myself, which is a staff, you get to 1:4 staff and faculty student to ratio. So that's even closer. An example of this would be a lot of the Chinese students that I help recruit to UNBC have my personal WeChat and they contact me if they have any questions regarding their studies. And I'm able to help direct where they are, where they need to go to find the resource they need. So as a research university, most first-year class sizes at, say, a university like UBC, University of British Columbia, or University of Toronto, McGill, Queen's, the first-year class sizes, you're looking at about 200 to 500 students, depending on what class it is. For classes that are in the health science, they're generally a little bit bigger. So biology, physics, they'll be a little bit bigger. I personally have been in class sizes that are roughly about 300. And instead of being taught by the professor, it's being taught by 2 teaching assistants. So this is a difference between UNBC and them is we do hire lecturers and professors to teach a class. The teaching assistants will be able there to help assist the program, not teach the class. And on top of that, our first year class size is 62. No class size will be ever more than 125 seats because a majority of our lecture hall theaters are no bigger than 125. Okay. So we're also known as Canada's Green University. Why? Because we specialize in environmental programs. This is what we specialize in. Anything environmental related, natural resource, programs such as environmental engineer, the Master of Engineering with Innovation and Design, for example, is another one. And also the natural resource and environmental studies degrees. These are all our specialists. Okay. So the Wood Innovation Research Lab, we have a Master of Engineering in Wood Innovation Design Center that focus on using wood as the primary building material for tall buildings. So for example, we are able to build a building that is 90% made out of wood with cross-laminated timber that can go as high as 13 to 14 stories. On top of that, we teach the students things about Passive House, which is a higher accreditation and energy saving certification than LEED, for example. Okay. We are green university and we live that lifestyle, and that's the way of life. So on the very right is our bioenergy plant. What that does is it uses wood waste to produce heat for the entire university. So wood waste would be something like that at the very bottom there that she's picking up. These products could be include barks and cutoffs that can no longer be made into any wood products such as plywood or whatnot. So they generally go to the landfills, and instead of going to the landfill, they come to us, and we are able to generate heat out of that in that lovely little building called the bioenergy plant. And with that, it reduces our fossil fuel consumption by 85% every year. We're hoping to get to 95% this year. We can never be 100% carbon neutral because of the fact that we can't account for all the flights and all the things that other professors are doing that's outside the university control. But for us, our goal is 95%. We do have an athletic team. So basketball and soccer are our two main sports for men's and women. So if you do have any amazing athletes that are, say, under the U17 Indian soccer team or basketball team, you can send us a video, and if our coach likes them, we are able to, and they meet our academic requirements, we can give them full ride scholarships. So this is something that's unique to UNBC. We play in a league called Canada West. So they are playing in competitive level college level athletic teams. So some more pictures about our athletes. We played TRU. TRU is one of our, as part of the Canada West as well. And in the wintertime, this is where they practice in the Northern Sports Center. So in the Northern Sports Center, there are 2 squash courts, 2 indoor FIFA approved soccer field, 3 gymnasium, which means 3 basketball courts, and a 280-meter indoor running track. So students are able to run even when it's minus 20 outside. Okay. So this is a picture of the indoor running track that's being used by some of our fitness class. Now, if the students don't want to work out, we encourage them to join the student-led organization. This is important for our student development as part of our student life because the student-led organization helps develop the soft skills that they otherwise won't learn in a college or whatnot. So time management skills, how to have team consensus, how to resolve problems diplomatically. These all come from these student-led organization. Now, because they're joining clubs that are of their interest, they're like-minded, so they generally are able to get along really quickly. So we have the debate society, for example. We have UNBC fencing, forestry club. We have the health training, UNBC medieval clubs. I'll show you some of their amazing work they've done. So we have the coffee club, we have the recycling club or composting, and we also have the organic produce club, which we awarded $10,000 to help them build a greenhouse so they can grow organic produce that they sell to our dining hall and also to our pub on campus. So that is able to generate funds to help them keep that greenhouse going, and they're going through an expansion as we speak. Okay, so that greenhouse is in operation 365 days a year, and the students, that club operates it and helps grow produce for them. Okay, so on the very left there, we have the physics club doing their annual pumping launching program, and that device that they have is built by them. So we have the chemistry or the biology club in the middle, and we have on the very right there, we have the medieval club, which they produce all these cosplay and equipments and whatnot themselves to be accurate to that time. So if the students don't like to join a student-led organization, we do have study abroad options in 18 different countries for them. So they can go to places like Nevada, they can go to Antarctica or Alaska. And also if they want to do a joint program research with their partners in Germany, for example, if they have a research collaboration, they can go to Peru, they can go to Argentina. So we have all these field schools and study abroad options available for all these students. So we have 17 different field schools study for these students as well. So they can go to a place like Italy, go to Death Valley, for example, to do their research, because this all affects environmental and natural resources. So we are big enough to offer groundbreaking research, but yet small enough students can get involved in the first year. And with that, what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit more about that, how first year undergraduate students can go into research. Okay. So we speak research, we talk green, we also invest in our researchers. So we give $14 million of research funding every year, so students can partake in trips and further their research in places like Antarctica or in the Borneo's forest, or work with their colleagues in Germany through their Erasmus fundings. So all these things are what we do to make sure that students are developing groundbreaking research at UNBC. For such a small university, $14 million is a significant amount. I mean, we're not UBC where we have 40,000 students and they do a lot more research funding to them. But as a small institution, $14 million is a significant amount of money. Like I said, we do have dormitory and residence on campus. So it's 207 steps away from the heart of campus. And in addition to that, there are a lot of open spaces that they can hang out in. Now, the dormitories are apartment style, meaning that they will share a bathroom, kitchen, and living room, but they get their individual bedrooms with a bed, a table, and a closet. So every room is set up that way. Now, with COVID right now, we are doing 50% occupancy, meaning that there will be a room in between them. We make sure that the rooms, the suites, the apartment suites, the people who are staying in there, the students who are staying in there are like-minded students. So they will fill out an extensive profile form. So we won't put somebody who is a late sleeper with someone who is a morning riser. So we want to make sure that they have the same type of habits, they have the same type of living style. So this will help them adjust faster and make sure that they're focused on academics. Okay. This is our lovely dining hall, which is open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night. And for students who are at the residence, they have the option of going on the meal plans. And the meal plan is 7 days a week, all you can eat option. We do also, our chef also will specialize programs or meals for students with dietary restriction. So for example, last semester in January, we had several Indian students who are vegetarian. And one of the cooks in the dining hall is Indian herself. So she was able to prepare these amazing Indian dishes for our students, specifically for these Indian students that we have on campus because they're vegetarian and they need their needs. And sometimes I ask if there's extra because they are better than what is being currently offered in the dining hall. So as mentioned before, UNBC is big enough to offer groundbreaking research, but you can get involved in first year undergraduate. What does that mean? So this is a perfect example of a student that takes advantage of UNBC's undergraduate program. She is a Brazilian student that came to UNBC, and when I found out where she was accepted to, I asked her why she chose UNBC. So she was accepted to Queen's University, UBC, U of T, and UNBC, and she decided to come to UNBC. All those schools provided her scholarships, but she still decided to choose UNBC. Why? Because A, we have small class sizes. That was very important to her. B, we are close to nature. And C, she gets access to undergraduate research, meaning that our professor took her on in her second year and first year to help them on their research project. So by the time she graduated, which was about 2 years ago, she had 4 journal articles with her name on it. So not only just research paper that she sent out to get published, there were 4 journal articles that has already been published. So by the time when she realized, hey, I didn't want to just do a degree, I want to do a PhD or a master's, doors open for her, because through her research projects with our professor, she was able to get connected with a University of Toronto professor that specialized in her research interests. And now she's doing her PhD in University of Toronto. Okay. So these are the opportunities that UNBC have. In addition to that, we supported her through different internships. We have co-ops for business students as well. And we have various employers network opportunity for them. Okay. So we have over 60 degrees and 27 masters and 3 PhDs. So we'll go through our bachelor degree first. So undergraduate bachelor degrees, we have two categories. One is called general entry, meaning that if the students meet our GPA requirement and English language requirement, they are able to get in. So the students, for example, if they want to go into accounting or finance, they have to meet our minimum requirements for that program. If they meet it, they generally will be able to get in. A few of our specialized programs are, for example, the Bachelor of Arts in Nature-Based Tourism Management, our Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, our Conservation Science and Practice, Environmental Science. So anything environmental related, natural resource related is what we specialize in. Okay. So we're also going to be talking about competitive entry program. What does that mean? Competitive entry program means that there are a limited amount of seats every year that we take in. So I'll take applied science, our Bachelor of Applied Science, Environmental Engineer, and Civil Engineer as an example. So UNBC currently offers 3 engineering programs. Our Environmental Engineer, which is UNBC Environment Engineer, and also UNBC Civil Engineer. So those 2 programs will accept 70 students per cohort. Okay, so if we get, say, 500 applications, we'll pick the best of the 70 and we'll offer them letters. Okay, so for this year's September 2020 intake, the cutoff GPA for that was 82%. Now, the third and final engineering program that we do have in the bachelor degree program is a joint program with UBC in environmental engineering. What does that mean? What does a joint program mean? It means that the students will do 2 years at UNBC, they'll do the 3rd and 4th year at UBC, and they'll come back up to UNBC for another half a year. So 4.5 years together, and they will be able to get 2 degrees, one from UNBC and one from UBC. So this is 2 degrees. But also note that when they are going to UBC, they will pay the UBC's tuition rate, which is, I'll show you how ridiculous, how much more it is than us. Okay. So the English requirement is 6.5, no less than 6 in the IELTS. We won't talk about TOEFL because you guys are IDP. As you know, right now we are taking IDP indicator as an exam. If IELTS indicator. So it will be equivalent 6.5, no less than 6. We're also taking Duolingo at 105, but I don't think IDP will have a lot of students who are on Duolingo. So the IELTS indicator for direct entry is being accepted up to January 2021 intake. After that, we have to reevaluate to see what the situation is. We may extend that to September of 2021, but we have to reevaluate in the coming months to see what the situation is going to be like. Okay. So an example for a general entry program, you need a 65% minimum average to be able to get in, but that's a minimum to apply. Doesn't mean you'll get in. So for the general entry program, we're looking at English, 3 academic course, and elective course. So students who are in the science stream, if they want to get into commerce, they would have to do Math 12, for example. If they're in the social science, then if they want to get into science, they would have to do one of our upgrade courses, either math or biology 12, to make sure that they have the prerequisite to get into the program. Environment engineering is an example of a competitive program. So the minimum to apply is 70%, and there are course requirements. So being it's a minimum to apply at 70% does not mean you'll get in. As I mentioned before, this year, September 2020 engineering program that are UNBC's civil and environmental engineering, the cutoff was 82%. So anybody lower than 82% was not offered a seat in our program. Okay. So we always ask students who are interested in engineering or any of our competitive program to have a higher GPA. So another example, for September 2019, our average intake GPA for international students was 87%. So that is what UNBC, after it's converted to a UNBC British Columbia Canadian curriculum, the GPA was 87%. Okay. So this is the requirements. We're looking at 60 overall for engineering, no core under 55%. Ideal students will be from the science stream. Commerce, we're looking for at least 55% with no core less than 50%. Making sure that they do meet some of our prerequisites. Okay. So let's talk about our graduate programs. I know IDP is interested in the graduate programs. Before we start this, I want to put a strong, sorry, can I ask, I'm just going to mute this person here. In regards to our master programs, 90% of our master's program are research-based. What does that mean? That means that students would have to get a supervisor from UNBC to accept them and take them on before they apply. Otherwise, there'll be a 0% chance of getting in. So the MBA program is the only one. Also, the MBA program and the Master of Engineering program are the two that does not require a supervisor at the time of application. Okay. However, there are other requirements for each of those programs. But the other programs, for example, Master of Science in Computer Science, they require the student to reach out to our professors, and the professors' research interest aligns with their research interests. And then the professor accepts them before they apply. Otherwise, 0% chance. You're basically throwing money away if they don't do that. Okay. So because it's research-based, we have a 2% admit rate. That's correct, 2% admit rate. So last year we got something like 5,000 applications for all our master's program, and we only accepted roughly about 130 or so. So just to give you an idea how competitive our master's program is. Now I'll give you the reason why in a bit. The MBA. The MBA is a 21-month MBA program that is completed in 5 semesters, and the classes are just 1 weekend a month. So the rest of the time, the classes are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's 8 hours every day. Okay. The rest of the time, we expect our students to do group projects. There will be a lot of group projects and teamwork. This program is considered full-time MBA, so the students do qualify for a study permit, and we do have MBA candidates or MBA students who have come to their family. So family members are able to accompany them while they're studying the MBA program. I do know of some students who are able to get a work permit while studying the MBA program because their employer in their home country is a global employer like HSBC, for example, or in Canada, ICBC as the Indian bank. So we do have Indian ICBC's sponsor our students to get the work permit so they can continue their career while they're in Canada while studying the MBA program. Okay, so these are just the example and the advantage of the MBA program. So for general entry for our graduate program, we're looking at a 4-year bachelor degree. Okay, and if it's from a 3-year, so 12 plus 3, the institution that's 3-year has to be NAC A approved. We're looking at the GPA average of 3.0 in the last 60 credits. So if the student, for example, is a 12 plus 3 and has a master's program, we'll look at the last year of the 3 and their master's program to calculate a GPA. Okay. If they're going to one of the 90% research program that we have, they have to identify a supervisor of the graduate program. Okay. That is significant and very important. And they do need academic reference as well. Okay. So finance and scholarship. So our undergraduate program costs roughly about $22,000 to $24,000 a year. If they want to stay on campus, it's about $5,000. If they want to do the 7-a-day all-you-can-eat meal plan, it's also about $5,000. Now, the number that you see for graduate program is correct for a majority of our graduate program. So the 1-year tuition for our graduate program is the same for international and our domestic students. There is no fee differential, which is why a lot of our international students want to get to our graduate program, especially the research-based one, because they're significantly cheaper in cost. And a majority of our programs in the graduate programs, especially the research ones, are BCPMP approved as well. So the ones who are in the BCPMP list, and those are hyper competitive program, meaning that we get 10 to 20 times the applicants per single seat that we have available. Okay. So this, I just want to make this very, very clear. Okay. So in terms of undergraduate tuition, as I mentioned, UNBC is a research-based university. Sorry, can I get that person to mute themselves, please?
Yeah, Richard, we're doing it from our end only.
Thank you very much. So UNBC's undergraduate tuition rates, because our international tuition rate is significantly more affordable than other research universities, doesn't mean that our quality is any different. If you compare it with the domestic tuition, UBC, UNBC, Simon Fraser, UVic, UBC, Okanagan, our domestic tuition rate is similar. Okay. We cannot deviate too much from that because that's the quality that our government impose on us to make sure that we have that quality as a research institution, and the rate is being controlled by our government as well. Whereas international tuition, each institution has a free-for-all. They can charge whatever they want amount because the cost of living is significantly cheaper in Prince George. We are able to decrease that tuition rate to an amount that is more affordable for a lot of our students. Compare, for example, the environmental engineering program, that's a joint degree. So the 2 years that students do at UNBC is about $25,000. And the 2 years that they do at UBC is roughly about $50,000. So it's double the amount that they have to pay for tuition on top of the cost of living that they have to live in Vancouver. Okay, so these are the differences if the students are looking at financials. Being at Prince George, UNBC, your cost of living and cost of going to school at a research intensive level university is significantly lower than, say, in the big city, Lower Mainland, Vancouver, or in places like Toronto. Okay. So in addition to that, we also give away $3 million of financial award every year, meaning that 25% of our students will receive a scholarship. Now, the scholarship is application-based, meaning that the students would have to apply for a scholarship. It is not merit-based, or so they aren't going to automatically get a scholarship. We are in the process of changing that, but for now, the students, once they get admitted, they would have to go apply for the scholarship themselves. Okay. So this is the end of my presentation. I'm ready to take any questions that you guys may have. I can go back in slides as well. So Dashita, did you want to moderate the questions or should I just answer them?
Yeah, so it's Anuj team. So Anuj, do you want to moderate it for everyone?
Sorry, Dakshita, you were saying something. I missed.
So the first questions that I saw from VJ, VJ, are you able to email me that, email what you just wrote down to india.admission@UNBC and CC myself into it as well, or IE@UNBC to make sure that we have this information. And Dashita and Mehak, can you please forward me that email so I can look into that? And answering the second question, can a student who has done a Bachelor of Engineering opt for Master of Science in Computer Science for January intake? It depends. Have they reached out to a supervisor? Do they have a research interest in what they want to study or research in computer science? So that is very important. We have faculties that are interested in doing big data research, do algorithm studies as well, especially in finance. So if this is something that the engineering student can do, then that's something that we can get. And is there any specific criteria to transfer to UBC? It depends on the program. If it's a joint degree program, the specific requirements is they have to get 65% or higher for the joint degree program to be able to transfer to UBC. But if they're in other programs, for example, the Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting or Finance, they are able to transfer the courses to UBC, but what UBC accepts changes every year based on the demand of the program. So 2 years ago, I had 4 students that transferred to UBC and SFU. They averaged 76% or higher, and they were able to get admission in the 3rd and 4th year because BC has a very robust BC articulation and transfer guide called BC CAT. So they were able to transfer all their credits from our university to their university to UBC and SFU because we're all in the same class of university. This is important because students who go to, say, Langara or BCIT, Douglas College, not all their courses will be transferable to UBC. They have to specifically take university transfer course, or else their courses will not be recognized by UBC or SFU or us. Okay, so this is important. For the MBA, please share the percentage for 12 plus 3 in percentage. I'll let Dashita and Mehak answer that if you're able to send them an email, india.admission@UNBC. Is math required for the BBA? Yes, math 12 is required for the BBA. But we are working on an upgrade course that students can take while they're admitted to UNBC, so they can take other courses that doesn't require the math 12 prerequisites. What is the admission requirement for the MBA program? Work experience? Yes, you guys are right. So the MBA requires a 3.0 GPA in the last 60 credits, so the last 2 years. We don't need GMAT, so thank for that. But they still need to meet the English requirements, 6.5 no less than 6 in IELTS. And they also have 3 years of managerial experience or places or work experience that they are making supervisory decision. Okay, this 3-year is very important because our MBA cohorts are very selective and our students are able to share their lived experience or their life work experience with their other cohort members. So you have a enriched environment where students are sharing their real life experience and contribute to the MBA program. Okay, so that is very important. How many backlogs? For backlogs for the MBA program specifically, we're looking at no more than 5. Gap years are accepted, but we are requiring a resume for their MBA and their work experience and their companies that they claim they work for or they put on their resume, they will be validated. Okay, so we've caught a lot of cases where students from other regions, Nigeria, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, where they have fake companies. So these companies said that they're managing directors, but they're not. That company doesn't even exist. Okay. Can you explain the competitive courses and what the benefits also? Not sure I understand your question, but competitive programs are like engineering and health science. And because there's a limited amount of seats per intake and they only have September intake, we can only accept X amount of students. Okay. Dashita, did you want to add to that? Maybe you have something more?
No, so competitive means the engineering and the public health program. So that was, I was also going to say, that's it. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so what are the admission requirements for the MBA and MEng? So the MBA I just went through. If you need more information, I think there is an emailer out that Mehek and her team have sent out to IDP. The MEng in Wood Innovation Design, that is a little bit more complicated. So I'll talk specifically about that right now. So the Master of Engineering in Wood Innovation Design, if you go on the UNBC website, we are specifically looking for students who have civil engineering background. So they've studied civil engineering, okay? And or they have taken engineering courses that are related to structure engineer, okay? So somebody who is taking, say, computers engineering will not qualify for the MEng program, okay? So they have to have structural engineering and they have to have understanding of construction as well, because a lot of our wood innovation engineering program is about how to construct buildings with wood instead of using concrete or steel to make these tall buildings. So that is a very important element. If they do not have that background, they will not be able to survive the program. Okay. And they also have to meet the 3 year, so the 60%, so the last 60 credits have to be 3.0 or more. So can a 3-year bachelor? Yes, they can apply for a Bachelor of Education, but that program is also a very competitive program. And we generally do not take a lot of international students in the Bachelor of Education program due to the fact that there's a police criminal record requirement for students who in that program, because they have to go into live public high school or elementary school classes to do their practicum. So that is part of the education program. So that's the reason why we do not accept a lot of international students into that program. But it doesn't mean that there hasn't been international students in that program. It is just a little bit more difficult. Okay. So GMAT's not required for the MBA program, 3 years of managerial experience. Okay. So can you please confirm again if there's a requirement to have a supervisor to apply for the MBA program? No, there isn't a requirement for that. The only requirement that they do need instead of a supervisor is a 3-year managerial experience. No GMAT required for the MBA. They do need 3 references. One has to be academic. The other 2 can be professional. And Mehek and Dashita will be able to go through that with you guys in detail. So yeah, I flew through the questions. Any other questions? I'm waiting for more.
We do have some questions in chat as well. Can a student apply directly for Masters of Computer Science program without research-based program?
Without research-based program, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so this question, it was a little confusing. Rest all the questions are same. IELTS requirement for MBA.
Same as our undergraduate, 6.5, no less than 6.0. Now, there is a caveat to that for the MBA. If we do find that the students does have a little issues with speaking, the MBA director will conduct an interview with the students. A huge part of our MBA program is requiring the students to be able to work with our local students, our domestic students. So English is the communication language that we use here. If they aren't able to communicate with our MBA director, it's likely that they aren't able to communicate with the team members. So we want to make sure that they, even though they have 6.5, no less than 6 in each of the band, they have to be able to speak properly. Okay, so that's very important.
Now we have it in Q&A section. Do we offer conditional offer letters to the students?
Currently, right now, we do not offer conditional letters to the students for undergraduate and our graduate program. We are working on a pathway program for undergraduates, but for a graduate program, they need to meet all the requirements if unless there's no conditional acceptance. So I think I understand the question in regards, can a student directly apply for a Master of Computer Science program without research-based program? No, there is no course-based option for the Masters of Computer Science. It's only research-based. So if the students want to get into the Masters of Computer Science, they have to have a research interest. And like I said, the Masters of Computer Science is on the list of the BCPMP program at UNBC, which means that we get a lot of application for a very limited amount of seats. An example is this year, September 2020 intake, we only accepted 1 student out of 180 applications. One student, okay? Let's see here.
3 years of experience, if not in management, is the student still eligible to apply for MBA?
Depends on what background and what experience they are working in, what industry. So with our MBA program, we're looking for a diverse group of students. So somebody in sales, somebody in finance, somebody in accounting, manufacturing, logistics. These diverse working background would help enrich the MBA environments because they bring along different skill sets and best practices from these industry, and they are able to collaborate and share in those group environments. And they come up with some very unique and innovative projects at the end of it. I am one of the judges for their projects, so it was very interesting to kind of look at through all these projects that they have. So yeah, it depends on their experience and their background. That's all I can say because the MBA director and the MBA committee have the final say on each of the candidates.
Okay, so the next question says that as the institutions are currently closed due to the pandemic lockdown, and the standards cannot get official, and the students cannot get official transcripts, will the university accept the academic documents with IDP stamps?
We will accept scanned copies of the academic transcript at this time, but when they do arrive on campus, they need to provide us the official transcript. Official meaning that it is from the institution, sealed in an envelope, unopened by the student or IDP or any agent or anybody in general, and delivered directly to our registrar's office. Okay. That is the only way. And the only way that we will accept it is one of our mission officer or our staff or myself opens it and we sign our name on it saying that we opened this and verified this. Okay. This is very, very important because unfortunately this year we had to kick out 2 students who did not provide their official transcript, and we gave them over 6 months to provide their official transcript prior to COVID. So in January 2020, we had to kick out 2 students because they weren't able to provide the transcript, and they were actually thinking we're kidding around. We're not. So with that, they even will not have be able to get into any other institution because they currently will be blacklisted on the Register of British Columbia and Canada lists as a student who apply. Okay, so this is very important for our registrar's office, and they're adamant about making sure that official transcripts come with the students.
So can you please name the course-based master's program at master's level, like all the course-based programs that you're having at master's level?
So the course-based master program that we have right now is the MBA program, the Master of Engineering with Innovation Design, and the Masters of Art and Developmental Economics. However, the Masters of Development Economics requires the students to have an economic degree. So they need to have an economic degree before they apply to that. Otherwise, they won't be able to get in. Okay. And we have a question about the Master of Science in Biochemistry requirements. They would have to provide a research interest. Our biochemistry faculty members have laid out what their research focus are. A majority of them are focusing on mushroom research right now. There's also avian flu research or avian studies right now. So it depends on what field they're looking for, and if our supervisors or our faculty members have research interest in that area as well. But the general admission requirements is the same: 4-year degree, 3.0 out of 4.3 between the last 60 credits, and 3 academic reference.
Yeah. So does MBA also has a supervisor as a requirement? I think no.
No, they do not.
Okay. And what is the application fees and the application process? So do you want to? Yeah. Okay. So the application fees for MBA program is $153, and then the application process is basically like you'll have to send the application form with all the academic documents plus the experience certificate plus the references, everything to india.admissions@unbc.ca or India 1 or India 2, and we'll take care of your application. Mehak every Monday will give you the status of your application like she has been giving you since a very, very long time.
And also with the MBA program, it is the deadline for the program is December 15, which means that the students won't know the result until January or late January before they know the results. Okay, so the committee will evaluate all the applicants at once. This year we received something like 250 applications. So it took a longer time for them to go through all the applications and to select the right candidates. So I know that they do spend 8 to 12 hours going through these applications. So it's something that they do dedicate time to make sure that the cohort that is coming in is the best cohort that's able to enrich the program. Okay. For undergraduates, application fee is $125. Okay. And the turnaround time for the undergraduate application is roughly about 2 weeks or so. So we are able to, Mehak and her team are able to apply on UNBC, and then we'll be able to get you the results about 2 weeks or so. Now, for September 2020 intake, we are still accepting applications. And because we do not need students to have study permit to register for courses, they are still able to come in and take courses online. Majority of our courses is going to be synchronous and also asynchronous courses. So it depends on the program. But yeah, we do encourage students who are interested in moving from, say, the US to Canada. This is something that we are still accepting application for, and they can take their courses online right now. And for the study permit issue, I'm sure you guys are up to speed on what the IRCC just announced, that the students will be able to get a conditional study permit if they already meet the requirements and they have been accepted to the school and they show the ability to pay, which I know IDP is very good at, making sure they evaluate the students and the candidates before they send them to the schools. Is the application online or paper-based? Currently right now, if you want to send it to India.admission, it is paper-based. And regards to other programs that IDP wants to work with UNBC with, because you guys do have a global partnership with us, is we are able to go through Education Planner BC. Okay. But if you do want support from Dashita and her team, you need to go through them. Okay. So for graduate programs that are not being supported by Dashita and her team, you guys can go through Education Planner BC, and the grad admission or grad at UNBC, grad for you at UNBC is the website or the email address that will be able to help you on that part. Okay. For graduate admission, international has no say in whatsoever in the admission or the candidates. It is faculty based, and I cannot. The only thing I can help you with is if you email me and say, hey, Richard, we have the students that have emailed the professor 20 times and professor has ignored them. All I can do is I can nicely email the professor, hey, do you want to have coffee? You know, go have coffee with them and go, by the way, Samar emailed you, a student from India, wants to do computer science with you. Have you seen his email? And if they say, yeah, but no, I don't like his profile, his research interest is not the same as mine, and that's all I can tell you. I will email you back saying that this is what the professor said. Our professors are bombarded by emails for asking for supervisor, and a lot of them are copy and paste templates. So if they see that it's copy and paste and they don't even put any effort in it, then they'll likely ignore it. So what I tell students or potential graduate students is that make sure you research our professor, make sure you look at what journal articles they have published, and maybe start a conversation with that. Hey, by the way, I saw a journal article, but it was behind a paywall and I can't get access to it. Can you send me a copy? Professors are more than happy to send them a copy of that. So this is a sure way of getting response from the professors. Okay. So big tip for IDP and Dashita and her team on that. Okay. Can a BA for economics a NAC A? Yes, they can apply for the Masters of Arts in Development Economics. That will be accepted. So the intake for the MBA program, there's only one intake and it's a September intake, but they do have an August start date. So make sure that you guys are aware of that. The MH program is also a September intake only. Deadline for scholarships, that we have a variety of scholarships, so it really depends. We have over something like 250 different scholarships, and each of them have different deadlines. We have ones that are that you can apply every semester, and we also have one that you can only apply once at the start of your academic at UNBC or when you move to the graduate program. Do you accept students from NIOS board? What is that?
That's the distance learning board, and if that's from the NAC A grade, then we can accept, if I'm not wrong.
You are correct.
Okay.
Because I don't know the answer. I'm kidding. But yes, NAC A University, make sure that if they're doing distance learning, it has to be NAC A. Okay. I have a student who did 12 from PCM with 52% average. What is PCM?
Physics, chemistry, maths.
Okay. Very active in sports. Can you apply? I will leave that to Mehek and Dashita. They will have more response to that than I will. It really depends on what program they're applying for. If they're applying for a competitive entry program, then at 52%, it's unlikely. At 50%, they might be eligible for some of our general entry programs, such as math or such as Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of Science. So they may be able to get into those programs, but it really depends on the style of programs. And if he's very active in sports and is somewhat of a good athlete, we've had students, international students, walk onto our soccer team before, meaning that there was a tryouts and they basically walked onto the field as a tryout attendee. And they were able to get a spot on the soccer team. And the year after, they did receive a scholarship for that. So this is something that at a small institution, we are very open to that. Email inquiries.
Yeah, sorry, Richard.
No worries.
Counselor wrote that he wishes to apply for commerce programs. So send us the application, we'll assess it. However, our admission requirements are 55%, not less than 50 in any of these subjects. But then if there is an exception, then we can take an approval from the admissions team, from the UNBC admissions team. So send us the application.
Perfect. So the email contact for inquiries, for all undergraduate and MBA program, India.admission or India1 at UNBC or India2 at UNBC. They're all being monitored right now by Dashita and her team. For graduate programs that are research-based, It's grabforyou@unbc.ca. Or if you want, you can do ie@unbc.ca. We'll be able to forward your emails to the appropriate graduate team to do that.
Hi, Richard, Daksha, Shraddha, Mehak. Thank you so much for the session. I guess there are no more questions.
Yeah, and do you want like Seema to come live and say hi to Richard?
No, actually, Seema just went out. Actually, she is in the another meeting, so she just told me to say bye on behalf of her.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else would like to come and say bye specifically? Like you guys can raise your hands.
I don't think they have access to do that.
Okay. So we do have Shraddha also with us. We have Mehak and Shraddha who, who continuously keep on talking to you guys. And yeah, thank you, Richard. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's pretty late at your end. And thank you for taking time for IDP team.
I
Not
know,
a
Richard,
problem.
it's too late for you to come for the session, but we'll make sure that that will be helpful for you. We'll have some more application in the future intakes.
Perfect. I look forward to it. And if you have any questions, I'm not sure if you know who Prema is. He's UNBC's account person at IDP that is in Canada. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to him to get my email contact, or in your internal system in IDP, my email contact is there. So you can reach out to me there as well. If you guys need a, say, office specific training session, you can email me and I'll be able to set that up. Or if you want, we can do another summit with MSM as well. So it's really up to you guys. I support IDP and make sure that you guys are able to help us. So we have a win-win situation there.
Definitely, Richard. Thank you so much once again for this session.
Not a
That means,
problem.
Anuj, we look out for applications from all your team members, from all the places, all the offices, because you give us the undergraduate applications. I mean, the ratio has to be 3:1, like 3 undergrad, 1 MBA, something like that, because the MBA seats are limited, and undergrad there's no limitation on the seats. So please make sure that you maintain the diversity.
I totally understand. We'll definitely try that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone.
much, team.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Richard.
Not a problem. You guys have a wonderful day. Have a good
Take
day.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye
Thank
now.
you so much. Bye bye. Take
Bye
care,
now.
all of you.
Bye-bye.